yesterday, we had the music, which some of us liked, and for others of us it got a little overwhelming, and Michelle had left, and Todd and I both kind of thought, something should be done about this. What's going on here? And so I walked out and walked around and walked up and thought, this isn't coming from our property at all. It's not even coming from close to our property. And so I walked down the road, and up the road in a house was a guy standing in his garage, about my size, maybe smaller. And he was standing, he had his garage open, and he had this giant muscle car engine exposed. And he's leaning up against the side of his garage, drinking something. Kind of just looking at me like, yeah, I'm playing my music loud. And I walked up to him and I said, hey, we're having a meditation retreat down there, and I wonder if you would consider turning the music down. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what he said because it involved a lot of four-letter words and threats. But he wasn't interested in turning down his music, put it that way. And I looked into his eyes because it's so interesting, especially like having been in Sesshin, but just people, when you haven't encountered someone before and you don't know, like, I wasn't sure what I was going to find when I walked up there, if it was going to be kids, if it was going to be, I had no idea. And I looked in his eyes and I just saw, I saw that. And his pupils were tiny, which tells me he's probably on something. And he just stared at me like, I dare you to try to do something. And I tried a few different things, and it was sort of like that image John gave us the first night of the mosquito and the iron ox, it was like, and in a way, the more that I was hoping or trying to get him to do it, the more he felt like, I gotcha, I can do this, and you can't stop me. And so I finally said, thank you very much, have a nice day. And he said, hope you all find some inner peace. Thank you very much. And I thought, that's what it feels to be a self against the world, right? Like there was not an inch of room to connect to, like he was hell-bent on, like. And I was walking down and I thought, me trying to not have him doing that is the same like I'm trying to get my reality how I want it too. So fine, fair enough, we'll have music for the afternoon. And Mark said, digging the music this morning, I thought, demons have their place in the gathering too, Like, we were once at Land of Medicine Buddha, which is another retreat center we go to. The second morning, it was probably around now in Sesshin, and people were really starting to, shit was coming up. And all of a sudden this smell comes into the temple. What the hell is that, And it turns out they need to mess with the septic, and the septic happens to be right outside the Zendo, and they're poking around in there and doing all this. And there was nothing we could do, so it was like, I guess we'll have this. I guess this is the texture of our retreat this morning. And the interesting thing is, you could tell yesterday it actually was fine. Like, we all kind of settled in. I was kind of grateful for the chainsaw. It just evened it out a little bit, Thanks, chainsaw. Like, thanks, you've got our back. And Sister Margaret went up there and didn't make it onto his property, and he yelled at her too. And I think that's part of taking part in the gathering. It's not like pruning the gathering, you know? It's really welcoming what's here. And the more we're cut off from things, the more terrifying that gets, I think.